Last up, we have Venomation's request. He asked me to cover what is considered Nelvana Enterprises' first ever theatrical animated movie. It's the cult classic, Rock and Rule. I don't even have to know your name. We've covered Nelvana works a few times by now, like Babar the Movie, Pippi Longstocking, the Donkey Kong Country TV series, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Yeah, they did a lot more than what I covered. And while they did TV shows starting in 1975, 1983 was when Rock and Roll first hit theaters. We have two versions to consider, an uncut Canadian version ripped from VHS, while the other is the edited American version in HD. I'll be using the American version, while only noting some differences from its Canadian counterpart. The director for this movie is Clive A. Smith, who also did Pippi Longstocking and the animated part of the Star Wars Holiday Special. Michael Hirsch was the main producer, while the main writers are Patrick Lobert, Peter Sauter, and John Halfpenny. The poster art name drops some artists who have music in this movie like Cheap Trick, Earth, Wind and Fire, Debbie Harry, Lou Reed, and Iggy Pop. Sounds like a rocking time, so let's see how it did. This is Rock and Rule. Right away, we get crawling text to tell us what kind of movie this is. The Canadian cut gets right to the point about a legendary super rocker, Mock, who is planning to make a comeback and secure his immortality, which involves satanic code that can open a gateway to hell? Damn, we haven't started the movie and already I'm hooked. The American cut mentions this too, but it focuses more on exposition about how dogs, cats, and rats were the only survivors of some war, and that they mutated into something else. So clearly this film is in my wheelhouse. Right?
I too love the sound of cats in boiling water. Okay, now join me.
Then why does he keep calling me Mark?
Are you calling me a liar?
Yeah, these aren't exactly the best looking animal mutants out there. It's often hard to tell who is a rat, cat, or dog. Earlier drafts seem to indicate that only the rats were meant to evolve into something more human-like. It's also worth noting that this movie is influenced by another Nelvana creation, The Devil and Daniel Mouse. So that's why we have this plot and these character designs. Going back a bit, we get our first appearance of Mock, voiced by Don Franks, who we only see in shadow. From what little lighting there is from his computer, you can tell he's up to no good.
Show me the Armageddon key. Have you finished decoding it?
Decoding not yet complete, Mock.
I see.
They do well to set him up as a villain early on, and the build-up to his full appearance is done well. He's taken to a bar where we meet the main cast for this movie. First up are Omar and Angel, voiced by Greg Salata and Susan Roman respectively. They had their own rock band and seem to have a thing for each other.
So we play one song. One of your songs, of course. So if we did two songs, one could be mine.
Yeah. Okay.
They're backed by Dizzy and Stretch, voiced by Dan Hennessy and Greg Duffel respectively. The latter is like the Shaggy of the group because of how dorky he is.
It'll be okay, you're just nervous. Take a deep breath.
Hey, what? I'm not nervous. I'm scared.
Anyway, they put on a show for a small crowd, with bar owner Mylar watching on. Now, I also want to point out that Omar is only voiced by Greg in the Canadian version of the movie, while Paul Le Mat does the same in the American version. Robin Zander still does the singing voice, though it's strange how they only replaced Greg for the American version just because MGM didn't like his voice. Either way, this is pretty rockin', though Mylar isn't impressed. The band only gets to continue because Omar makes some threats, but now it's time for Angel to do her song. Debbie Harry does the singing voice for Angel, and yeah, it sounds pretty good. Omar doesn't like being upstaged and walks off. Mock just arrives, but then his ring starts to flicker. He's looking for the right voice to finish his master plan, and it seems he might have found it with Angel. So he has Mylar talk to Stretch and Dizzy in hopes of getting them interested and checking him out. But Omar doesn't seem that interested yet and just wants to talk to Angel about walking off earlier.
Why don't you just leave me alone? You've already screwed things up enough for one night. I trusted you.
Nice talk. I just came to tell you you were good.
So why'd you walk?
Hey, you know, everything got a little weird.
I know what you mean.
This is certainly a messy relationship, but one I'm willing to see how it plays out. Especially if it involves what I think it's going to involve. I don't know why, but the way that was animated felt funny. Anyway, this dog-faced guy just wanted to give them Mock's card. They get to decide whether to talk to him, but for now, Angel wants to continue the makeout sex. We watch them drive through this one city from an aerial view, and it looks very neat, I must say. They actually drive through the whole thing, and eventually they arrive at Mock's place. Omar seems to either be a dumbass, or he just makes fun of the two dog guys we've been seeing. They're named Sleazy and Zip, and they are pretty funny.
Great to see ya!
Tell him I was Mark.
No!
Then why does he keep calling me Mark?
Are you calling me a liar?
Oh, and that driver we kept seeing is Toad, the third brother. Now, anyone want to see the most awesome way to enter a room?
Anyone want a beer?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. He ain't a magic man for nothing, and Mock is interesting. I don't know what it is about how he's animated, but it looks like his lips are trying to escape his face. While I get he's an old man by now, his face just feels very fake, if that makes any sense.
What did you think of my last album?
I loved it.
I bought it too. My gerbil uses it for a room divider.
Wait, how does that work? But Mock doesn't take offense and just tells the boys to look at this strange orb thing. This distracts Omar while the big bad pulls Angel aside. It's creepier than when Pinocchio stared at that ruby. Dizzy is the smart one and sneaks out before he gets affected too. Mock takes Angel to his garden where he goes on about what he wants out of life. It's here where we learn that his magic is just his henchmen working backstage. He then pops the question of her quitting her band to join him. But this is what she has to say.
The group's just starting to come together. I think we got a pretty good chance of...
Vegetating on the hometown circuit for the rest of your life.
Call it what you want. I believe in...
Miracles.
She's that faithful to her group. Good on her. Also, if Mock can do all this with whatever tech he has, I have to wonder what else he can do because hot damn it is cool. So the brothers just knock her out with freaky worm things while Dizzy is found and taken away. Everyone else is looking at a hologram version of the Vitruvian Man.
Triumph of the glory, the power and the glory that is me. Triumph of the glory, triumph of the glory in me.
Okay, this is one of Mock's old songs done by Lou Reed, and I don't know, doesn't sound quite as rockin' as the other songs we had so far. At least the animation looks cool. In another cool sequence, we see Mock and Sleazy prepare a blimp that will fly to Nuke, York. And the band gets taken out to their vehicle. Dizzy learns what's going on since he wasn't hypnotized.
Mock's gonna make her a big star.
She was, overwhelmed.
Hey, you guys can't get away with this.
You want to try that one again? No? Okay. As the ship takes off, I guess they left their car in neutral because it starts moving even though Dizzy can't drive it. And wait a minute. Is that an unmutated dog? In a world where all dogs, cats, and rats became muted humans? Well, he does his best to avoid hitting anyone, but eventually he crashes, leading to this gag. Okay. Omar and Stretch snap out of it and learn what happened. Omar is really pissed at Angel because he thought she wanted to leave, but it comes out as blaming her for getting everyone into this mess. Then policeman Quadhole, voiced by Donnie Burns, shows up to arrest them.
That's a 419 BNF. Bathing felony.
Seriously? Of course, Omar tricks him into stepping away from his vehicle, so they can steal his car.
Thank you!
You're welcome. Slime!
I don't even know. Anyway, we get a montage of the gang driving through various locales while I'm the Man by Cheap Trick plays. The best part is how they built a light bridge that forms when you drive through it. Honestly, the future tech in this is pretty neat. Like the floating car that can go off-road. I wouldn't mind getting to know more about this world because it would make for a neat open world setting. Anyway, they make it to Nuke, York, only to get stopped by a traffic guard because of a blackout. He doesn't fall for Omar's trick either, so our heroes get arrested. As we transition, we see the remains of what is clearly New York and the hellhole it's become. Mock is already here and is making plans for his show. But since it'll be a while before we get back to him, let's get acquainted with...
Cinderella knows what you're talking about.
Anyway, this is Cindy, voiced by Katherine Gallant. She's the sister of the three dumbass brothers, and unwittingly helps Angel get out of the room the way she came in. Also, for some reason, they add the green tint to everything in the dark vent, except for Cindy's panties. They seem to like her butt a lot.
Let's go for it!
Ass!
So they go over where Mock is, who's consulting his computer about what to do now. He needs Angel to sing a very specific song to activate the Armageddon key and summon the demon he's after. Then the computer does us a solid by also explaining how the demon can be sent back.
A being can be sent back by the magic of one voice, one heart, one song.
Wonder what this could mean. Mock demands to know who can send it back, but the computer just says no one. That relieves him, but his sponsors are having second thoughts.
I mean, this is pretty crazy.
Wars have been started for less. When I want your opinions, I'll give them to you.
I guess that's true. Although you're summoning a demon, who knows what will happen? The girls get out and learn that Mock is playing at Carnegie Hall. And look, an actual cat this time.
I know, sweetie. Don't think about it too much.
Anyhow, the boys got out of jail thanks to Dizzy's aunt. Omar still isn't admitting how much he cares for Angel, but is told to find Cindy at Club 666. Someone tries ratting them out to Toad, just after we saw an actual rat in an alleyway, funnily enough, and this is what happens.
Oh, shit. Where even?
Mock has an idea he wants to run with, and we'll see it in action later. Anyway, at the club... Okay, I know the exposition about mutants was for the American version, but what the hell are you then if these are mutants to you? Now, the bar itself is an anti-gravity area, meaning they get to play around with the dimensions and how this place looks. It's certainly a trippy sequence, especially as Omar and crew look for Cindy, and Angel is just fascinated by the freaky stuff going on. See, this is what Cool World should have been. Everything that happens here feels natural rather than out of place, and it vibes so well that you get the impression that it looks and sounds cool. Admittingly, the story takes getting used to, but the visuals are an experience to behold for the time. I just can't stop watching, and I like it. Anyway, one of the brothers takes Angel and gestures to Cindy about following along, and this is the last time we see her. Omar goes after them, and by this point, both Dizzy and Stretch were taken away. Omar then finds himself in an abandoned warehouse where he finds Mock with what appears to be Angel.
Got everything I need. Takes time.
Yeah,
But this was just a disguise from someone named What's-Her-Face. I didn't think that was her name when he first brought it up earlier, but okay, that's good. Later, Mach does some more freaky tech magic with Angel to try and get her to side with him. When she refuses, he shows her her friends inside that orb we saw earlier.
As you wish. Your word is good enough for me.
You could have killed them. You're totally crazy!
Thank you.
Of course, in the following scene, it looks like the orb screwed with their minds. Oh well, time for that big concert we were promised.
KIX Morning News Update. Mach's promise to rewrite rock history was prematurely and tragically interrupted last night when an overwhelming power surge totally destroyed Carnegie Hall, then blacked out the entire city.
What? We don't even get to see it? No, we just get the freaky aftermath from those who survived. According to the computer, the demon couldn't maintain its form because of the lack of stable power. But ohmTown has that unique power plant that will help him. So it's back home we go. But first, another Mach song.
My name is Mark, thanks a lot. I know you love the thing you got. You've never seen the likes of me. Why, I'm the biggest thing since World War III.
A little better than the earlier one he had, though this one has better visuals. After that, we see Zip watching a children's program about the differences between good and evil from some clown guy named Uncle Mike. What point will this serve? You'll see.
We all must have our own personal view of right and wrong.
But is what we are doing evil?
Are we the baddies?
Zip, zip. No Santa Claus, no Tooth Fairy, and no Uncle Mikey.
Anyway, Angel tries to get Mach to change his mind because he's too far gone at this point. He goes through his temper tantrum and tells the others to drug Angel and prepare a concert at the power plant. Meanwhile, the boys are playing at Mylar's place under a new name, Omar and the Daycarers.
Like this town, I need you. And this wonderful town, I like you.
This is going to make the last act feel weird if this makes Omar realize how much he needs Angel. For now, Mach's concert begins, and Angel is forced to sing. It's just a summoning song, I can accept it starting slow. Of course, they need more power, so they tap into the lightning storm. The overload shorts out the city's power, zaps our heroes, and gets them back to their senses. But even after remembering what happened, Omar still won't go save Angel.
I saw them together. I've had it.
Believe your heart, Omar, not your eyes. Don't you see?
And then Quad shows up to be fooled again, so they steal his car. As they drive, the demon starts coming through the portal while singing an Iggy Pop song.
And suffering. Red wine turns to blood.
Okay, this is the part of the movie where that's really trippy and really awesome. The demon comes out in all its glory, and the way it looks is hardcore. However they made this, I applaud the animators for it. In any case, Omar shows up like a badass to free Angel. It looks like he's about to face the demon head on, but Zip, who's realized he's on the wrong side, decides to step in and take the blunt of its attack.
We ain't evil, are we?
Zip! Talk to me!
Well, that was depressing. As Omar wakes up, Angel tells him that they need to use their voices to send the demon back to hell. At first, she sings alone, but eventually... Yeah, sing it to death. This must have been what the computer meant, right? Mach gets angry and doesn't realize that Toad snuck in from behind to avenge his brother. Now the big bad can join the demon in hell.
one song, but there is no one.
And no one noticed that the demon had eaten a few people earlier. Guess they think it's part of the show. Also, Zip survives in the Canadian cut because he just wakes up. And so the story ends with light from the tower covering the entire city, as if a new day has dawned. All things considered, this is a pretty rad movie, even if the story leaves a lot to be desired. The rocky relationship between Omar and Angel is a novel one, but it's not well written given how negative Omar can be. Mock's plan for summoning the demon is also pretty cool, even if his motivation is a bit lacking. I also wish we had a proper end to Cindy's character arc, since it kinda gets dropped after Angel's second abduction. Zip's seeming heel face turn kinda came out of nowhere. Did he have a change of heart just because of that children's program? Still, the journey was far from boring. The dystopian setting and rock music really contribute to the immersion and world building. So seeing a demon summoned by a rock concert feels totally believable here. It honestly works better hand in hand instead of just relying on a single aspect like Cool World did. But sadly, the movie bombed. Big time. $8 million budget. It only made back $30,000 in the US. I don't know how much it made in Canada, but it can't be that much better. I guess the cuts and changes didn't help much either, but it's any wonder why it did poorly. Maybe not. MGM didn't really care for the movie either, which is pretty evident given one of their voice actor changes. Still, it has its cult status for a reason, and it's remembered fondly for what it is. If you can find a copy or a version of it online, definitely give it a watch. It truly does live up to its name in that it rocks and it rules. I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.
I don't know about this, Jake. Nobody seems to be buying these I Survived the Mock concert t-shirt.